Men of Reddit, what's your creepy girl story? Story 1. I met a girl online, we chatted and set up a date. The date goes fine, she's a little weird, a little sheltered, but seems nice. Not much chemistry, but I think that can take some time, so we give it another go and have a second date. Confirm. I have no interest in a relationship with this girl on the second date, so we talk it out. No hard feelings, let's be friends. Fast forward 1.5 years. I'm in my kitchen with some friends getting ready to go out for my birthday dinner when we hear a knock on the door. I go check and no one is there, but there is a box with my name on it. There is a card and some gifts, which would be nice if this girl had ever been to my house before. I had moved since our 2 dates and still have no idea how she found me. Story 2. Girl in my dorm. She had a crush on my roommate. My roommate clearly didn't like it and told her several times. Things got out of hand, and there were times where my roommate would come running back to the room yelling, "Lock the door, lock the door!" And moments later, the girl and her friend would try to come barge in without permission. What's creepy is this next part. Apparently, one night we accidentally left our room unlocked, and she decided to sneak in and play or rub our heads. We didn't wake up, but her roommate told us what she did a couple days later. I haven't seen her in about a year, and I'm quite glad. Story 3. This younger girl who I never even spoke to once in high school had a crush on me. I got a note from her in my locker asking if I wanted to go out with her. I had no idea of how to get it back to her, so I just wrote no and taped it to my locker. Then she started following me everywhere. I would try to talk to her, but she would just keep walking away, pretending I wasn't talking to her. This goes on for like 2 years. Then I was hanging out by myself one day around the neighborhood, and she came walking up with 3 guys who wanted to kick my butt for some dumb, unrelated stuff. She somehow found out about it and brought them to me. After an embarrassing scene with me diffusing the situation with these angry gentlemen, they leave, and she finally sits down on the curb right next to me and starts flirting. All I could do was just stare at her enormous bangs with a what the hell expression until she got embarrassed and left. Story 5 was at a friend's birthday party for her dog. Probably was just an excuse to bring people over and get drunk. And another friend, let's call her M, is also present. I have known M for a few years, but I only see her a few times a year. She's very wedded and quite intoxicated. Her spouse was there too. At one point throughout the night, she asked me if I have a girlfriend. I didn't, if I'm looking for one, where I've been looking for one, and so on. Then she tells me that I had been looking in all the wrong areas and that I should let her know if I wanted a good female. She also kept wanting to grab my hand during this chat, so I made sure to always have a bunch of mini pretzels in each hand, as a means to say I couldn't hold hands. I can't hold hands if I have pretzels in my hands. Reason. Then she says, "I like you. I don't wipe often. I really like you." I'm like, okay. This goes on for a bit, and then she says, "Stop saying okay. It makes me feel like you think I'm lying." Then she starts following me around the room and keeps attempting to have me dance with her till I leave. While all of this was going on, her husband was almost always in the same room as us, only a few feet away. I felt I was insane and making it all up until another friend asked me, "Was M trying to hit on you?" The same night we were leaving. Story 6. I started seeing a new doctor, and the receptionist was pretty, so I flirted with her a little. In a waiting area with other people who were sick. It was quite harmless. She reciprocated. I figured it was all in good fun. She got a little more aggressive, like making sure I was available on days she was there and called me directly to remind me. After that, she went into the database, found my cell number, and started contacting me. She says she wants to see me because she's not happy with her husband. They never do it anymore, and so on. I got out of there as soon as I could. Story 7. A few months ago, I was going home from school when this middle-aged woman, who was inebriated, grabbed my arm, hugged me against a wall, and proceeded to grind on me. I wasn't interested because I had an exam the next day and I just wanted to get home. She wouldn't let me go, and she had me touch her breasts and legs. Thankfully, this was through clothes. She then started hitting me for no reason and saying or doing really nasty things that are typical of Asians. I'm Asian. I finally got away, but I've never entirely recovered from what happened, and I've never been able to talk about it with my girlfriends. I don't think I ever will. Story 8. I would help pupils with their homework after school throughout my senior year of high school. A new girl walked in and sat next to me one day around halfway through the year. She asked me if I wanted to see her birth control right away. She had an implant in her arm and showed me where it was. She then touched my arm and said I was hairy. She kept asking me personal questions, such as where I lived and who my friends were for the rest of the time. After that, I didn't see her tutoring again. One day at lunch, though, she came up to my table where I was talking to my friends and joined in the conversation before leaving for no reason. A few days later, I heard that she had been suspended for having drugs or a weapon in her backpack. Story 9. In elementary school, a new Spanish girl had a crush on me. She would actually follow me around and stare at me all the time. We tried it out with my friends. In class, people would look and see that she was looking at me. During recess, we went to the farthest corner of the field and she followed. I went back to the school wall and she followed again. I notified the teachers and they finally got her to stop following me. A few days later, she was gone. No one knew where she had gone. Okay, that's kind of eerie. At first, it just sounds like one of those awkward childhood crush situations. Uncomfortable, but fairly innocent. Kids don't always know how to handle their feelings, so the staring and following seems like her way of trying to connect, even if it was too much. But the way it ends, she was just gone? That's where it shifts from awkward to straight up mysterious. No goodbye, no explanation, just disappeared? That would leave anyone with questions. Story 10. When I was a senior, this girl was a freshman. I knew her through friends and met her a couple of times. I think she liked me. A friend of ours informed me that she thought I liked her, but I told her that was a mistake and that I just wanted to be friends. The next thing I know, this girl is coming to my work several times a shift. When I take a break and sit in my car, she would come up to me and try to chat to me if I had my windows down. She was moved to a school for troubled kids, where she would take people's phones and try to call, text, or message me on social media. They finally stopped letting her use electronics and the texts ceased. Because of the coronavirus outbreak plus the fact that all the schools in my state are closed. She was sent back to live with her dad and I saw her in my store the other day. I don't think she noticed me and I hope she's moved on. Story 11. A gorgeous girl who looks regular. Went on a date with her. We drank too much. She breaks down and talks about how she took fentanyl with her ex and ended up in the hospital. Because it screwed up her urinary system, she will have to wear a catheter and bag for the rest of her life. She was yelling, "I have a bladder disorder caused by drugs." She is 23 years old. She cried and begged me to touch her next to the catheter. I didn't feel it. Then I thought I was the bad guy and contacted the police to report I was striking her. I taped her going nuts and calling me names. The police arrive. She is going through a mental collapse of some kind at 1 a.m. She is taken to a psych observation facility. We ended up playing poker. And for those who have asked me and DM'd me if they may see the video, I probably will in time if I can cut out faces, names, and other identifying information so you only witness the screaming freakout. It will take me a while because I'm not good at it. Story 12. I was about 13 or 14 years old and playing Gaia Online, which was a dumb social networking game from 2002. That's when I met a female. We got along and started talking on AIM. For sure, I also performed the embarrassing cyber thing. Eventually, she tells the truth and says she's really in her late 20s, like 28 or so. As a 14-year-old guy who is really in the mood, that didn't bother me at all. So we start video chatting and she's just flipping out on camera with me. Again, I don't see a problem with this as a 14-year-old. She finally talks about coming to see us so we can do it again. I didn't see the problem other than the fact that she wasn't particularly pretty, but I didn't think she was serious until she sent me an email with her trip itinerary. I panicked and blocked her, deleted my AIM, and remained away from the computer for almost 6 months. I never heard from her again. Story 13. After her partner broke up with her, a friend of mine went completely mad, cutting him off, trying to make him get back together, and kicking him out of the group to keep him alone, only for it to backfire and make him throw a fit, and so on. And that was just the first year. When he started dating another lady from our group's senior year, she seemed like she was cool, but then she lied to the girl and tried to get her to break up with him since he was definitely texting her last night. He also told her he loathed her, that she was unattractive, and that he really loved her. Crazy girl. And was only dating the new female to make her jealous. A lot of other stuff happened too. Story 14. A guy at the bar called her friend a cow and then hurried away. I guess I looked sufficiently like him that he hit me in the face 3 times. I was able to avoid punching a woman in a public bar, which was my goal, and things seemed to calm down. Later, she trapped me in the restroom, which was only for one person. I believe I failed to lock the door. I was told that if I didn't go with her and went back to her apartment, I would be accused of some pretty terrible things. The bartender observed her looking for trouble and sent the bouncer after her. He told her to go and not come back. Things turned racial as she left. There were a lot of big words. We were all sent back to the nations where we were born. When I left, she was waiting on the street and tried to pursue me, but I just jogged away, and she fell and started screaming. It was sad, but also humorous. Story 15. I didn't know she was creepy until I tried to break up with her and failed. It was my fault the first several times because I was weak-minded, stupid, and all that. She told me I could do it or something else, or she just treated me nicely for a while. I thought things can be okay again, and I got back together with her. At some point, I did learn my lesson, but that's when I understood she was really my crazy ex. And it was sad. There are a lot of bizarre things, but the long and short of it is that she told everyone we were still dating more than a year after I had genuinely broken up with her. She gave up her desire of going to a different school she'd always wanted to go to and actually got into my institution just so she could meet me. Signed up for a class that I was teaching a lab for without my knowledge. Came by my parents' place out of the blue and told them we were still together. It worked the first time. Story 16. I tried Tinder once and met a girl in Arkansas. The act only lasted till she asked him to let her stay within her, which is a lovely thing to hear, but not from someone you just met. I told her I'm not going to do that, and she pushed me away and started crying, saying things like, I just want a baby so someone will love me. I felt awful for her, so I talked her down and bought her some dinner. She thanked me and went home. That wasn't too strange. I just thought she was having a hard time, which occurs. About a week later, I arrived home from work and found my front door open. It seemed like someone was trying to pull it off the hinges. I saw her automobile parked across the street after that. This crazy person got really intoxicated, drove to my house, broke in, and fell asleep in my bed without clothes on. She panicked and left when the cops came. I don't know what happened to her after that, but I never used Tinder again. Story 17. I went to a bar with some pals to watch a game. As we were all leaving to go home, a bunch of girls who were definitely drunk at 11 in the morning walked in and headed straight for our group. One runs out and yells, "Come with me!" and sticks her fingers straight up into my armpit. It was really hot outside, so I was sweating. When I moved her arm away from me, she took her hand out and sniffed her fingers. Then she winked at me. My buddies say I've never looked more confused. Okay, what? That's deeply unhinged and weirdly bold. First off, drunk at 11 a.m.? That already sets the tone for chaotic energy approaching. But armpit finger sniffing? That's a whole new level of bizarre I don't think anyone prepares for in public, or ever, honestly. And the wink at the end? That's some villain origin story behavior. Your friends were right. There's no normal human face to make when someone does that to you. Just pure confusion, and probably a deep questioning of all your life choices that led to that moment. You win the "what the hell just happened" story of the week easily. Story 18 went out with a girl who was close to her cousin. I slowly learned that everyone despised her cousin and didn't want to urge me to stay away from the girl and her cousin because it was bad. My cousin remained dating the girl and she started to hang out with him more. At first it was good, but then the lying started. I had never met a compulsive liar before, So I couldn't believe that no one said anything when this girl lied right in front of me. Lies that are ridiculous. Crazy lies that didn't make any sense. Lies that never stop and are incredibly strange. Lies like, I fell out of an airplane once. It grew worse. I informed the girl that I don't want to be around my cousin anymore. The girl gets it. My cousin gets my number and then calls and texts me to say she saw the girl at my friend's place. My cousin says she's cheating on me. My cousin lives 45 minutes away and would never drive by my friend's place. I tell her not to talk to me again. She says, but I thought we were friends. Number of blocks, girl dump, getaway, story 19. It was a long time ago when I was in school. There was a girl who used to sit just behind me. She was pretty, but she didn't talk to anyone and was very distant from everyone. She had no social skills at all. But I did try to talk to her. We learned about each other. I thought we were pals. We began to sit in the same chair. She said one day, I know why you want to be friends with me. I asked, why? You want this, right? She says. Then she lifted her skirt up a little and her panties down a little and showed me the bird, which I still remember. By the way, we were 16. Then she starts to laugh. I gazed at her show and then back into her eyes. Her smile looked crazy to me. She was the most creepy chick I've ever met. Story 20. The first real relationship I had was with a girl who was quite clingy and had been to my place only 3 times. The power went out when we were in the hot tub and our parents were away. She answered, oh, you probably just need to reset the breaker. It's on the left wall of the laundry room and says, hot tub. I say, how the hell do you know that? She felt scared and said, I don't know. After she told her family that we were going to spend the rest of our lives together, I broke up with her. When we buy a house. When we have kids. When we get a dog. I met her on a dating app and barely knew her for 3 months, but I started to display all the signs of being weird after 1 month. Story 21. This is good for you. When my kid was 2, she'd slip out of her room an hour or so after bedtime. Our corridor was so dark that you couldn't see her dark purple blanket. She'd put it on and slowly walk to the living room, where I, the only adult in the home, would watch TV to relax. I saw something moving out of the corner of my eye and turned to find this. A Pac-Man ghost laughing at me. Creepy laughing that I can't stop thinking about for the past 5 years. I gasped. At first, I wanted to take up the scary purple monster and toss it, but by the time I had my hands on her shoulders, I was laughing so hard I sobbed. Story 22. I started seeing a girl who lived about an hour away, so we didn't see each other very often. One day while I'm out, she drives to my house and convinces my roommate to let her into my room. Then she puts those glow-in-the-dark stars all over my room. And then goes. My roommate was asleep when I got home from a party where there was alcohol and marijuana, so they didn't tell me anything. I was still intoxicated and high when I got into bed. I turned out the lights and then thought I was going crazy since I couldn't tell if I was inside or outside looking at the night sky. My roommate didn't tell me till the next day. Okay, that's actually hilarious and just a little bit terrifying. Like on paper, what she did is kind of sweet and romantic, but also a touch invasive. Showing up unannounced, getting into your room, and transforming your ceiling into a stoner's planetarium while you're not even there? That's a very specific vibe. But the timing? Chef's kiss. You stumble in all directions, flipping off the lights, and suddenly being surrounded by stars. You must have had a full-on am I astral projecting moment. I imagine a solid minute of just laying there, questioning reality, your life choices, and maybe even whether you died and become part of the cosmos. Story 23. I started working for an engineering company handling document control. There were 12 ladies and 1 other man in the department besides me. The woman who taught me was the second in charge. At first, she gave me some strange compliments about my body, and she always made sure that I worked with her when no one else did. There wasn't one thing I could point to, but it was clear that she liked me. It worked out for me, so I never said anything bad about it, but I also never said anything kind. When she would start up, I would try to bring up her husband to send the message, not interested. We do this for 9 months and then we transfer buildings. She invites me into her office and tells me that I need to go to the old building to get some big boxes. We arrive there and there are two medium crates that weigh around 20 pounds apiece. During the trip home, she talks about how her marriage isn't working well and how she plans to divorce her spouse. The guy is a Marine and a state trooper. She adds, "Let's stop and take a break before we go back." And then she brings us to a park by the river. When she parked and said, "I want to lick you dry right now," there was no more subtlety. She wasn't particularly pretty and had wild eyes, so I said no. There was also an engineer there who I had a lot of chemistry with. That was a perfect wife. I didn't want to risk the chance of going out with someone. That was pretty much the end of it. She stepped back and didn't cause any trouble. A few months later, I obtained a promotion and left the department. She had a few kids with her spouse, and the last time I checked, they were still together. This all happened in 2007, so I'm sure she's cheating on him all the time. Renee, you're a filthy, filthy whore. Story 24. A long time ago, I went on a date with a girl I barely knew through a friend. We went bowling, I lived in a tiny town, and had a good time, but nothing physical happened. I just wasn't into her, so we didn't go out again. A month later, her brother came to Walmart where I worked and threatened to beat me up. I was, as you may understand, bewildered. She told everyone that we were dating, that I told her I loved her, and then I cheated on her and broke up with her, presumably when her friends and family were wondering where I was and when they could meet me. She was so upset about this fake connection that she asked her brother to beat me up. Thank goodness he heard my side of the story and left, even if he was still angry. My butt is still not kicked. Story 25. My friend and I went to a house party in college. We were in our other friend's room looking through his library of songs he had downloaded from Napster. This was around 2003. I was at the computer listening to music when a girl I didn't know who was also at the party started dancing next to me. I stood up and danced with her too. For about 30 seconds she did that, then she pulled me into the bed and jumped on top of me. I was really inebriated and thought I couldn't do anything. It seemed like she was licking my face. I don't know how long it took, maybe 15 to 20 seconds at most. But my friend who came with me came back in and grabbed her off me and took me home. The next day, I found out that she was a sorority sister with a friend of mine. This girl couldn't believe that she would do this. Story 26. I had known this girl for a few years, and she always seemed pleasant enough, I guess. We were never truly buddies, although we hung around with the same people. Anyway, she was incredibly short and hefty and just not my type at all. Anyway, one night while I was single, I was at a local pub dancing with some friends when she came out of nowhere and started attempting to grind on me. I went to the bar, she follows me there, grabs my butt and starts to rub my chest. I tell her I'm not interested at this moment and go outside for a smoke. As soon as I walk in, she starts trying to dance with me. I tell her again that I'm not interested. She takes my soldier and grins, then asks, "What's wrong?" I pushed her away and ordered her to leave me alone. Then I went to a different bar. About a month later, I read her Facebook post about the patriarchy, how creepy men are, and how women need to fight back against males who are groping them in bars. That's precisely what she did to me. I wanted to say anything, but instead, I just erased and blocked her. Insane Lady Goblin. Story 27. I was a girl and went to the same college as my ex's new girlfriend when I was getting my second degree. She is around 4 years younger than me. I start to feel like I'm being watched in lectures. These are big lecture halls with more than 300 people, and I know she's in my class. I heard she's a little strange. She looked like an elf with wild, unbrushed hair and generally looked very unkempt. She would come in with yesterday's makeup, and I would see her everywhere on campus. This is a big campus, and I'm not sure if it's just a coincidence all this time, but I start to freak out. I get crippling anxiety because she was always there. She and her friend would make a point to take pictures of me during lectures and point and whatnot. I never talked to her or paid attention to her. I just went about my business. It was really disturbing that she was so interested in keeping track of me and taking pictures of me. Then she made a photo of me and my friend with her profile image on Facebook. That girl was strange. I hope she got the help she needed.